my gosh. Hi, my name is Aylin. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about all of the books that I read in the month of December. So depending on which thumbnail I used, I definitely catfished you guys because while I did read six books in the month of December, I only own one of them. But you know, we gotta do what we gotta do. So let's just run through them. December was a chaotic month. I think it often is for a lot of people. I didn't read a ton. 6 is an average number. In order to reach my Goodreads goal of 100, I would have needed to read 12. Diving right on in, the first book that I read in the month of December was Love Light Farms by B.K. Borson. I was planning on doing this whole holiday reading vlog of a bunch of really popular holiday romances, and that just didn't end up happening because life got crazy. I do plan on doing that video. I have a bunch of those books still, but it'll just be for next year for Bookmas. Anyway, Love Light Farms. I read this one because it was really popular. I had heard so many things about it. I heard it was a really great friends to lovers. If you like that, it was an indie published. I was excited. It's basically about this girl who owns a Christmas tree farm and it's not doing very well, so in order to kind of save it, she enters into this competition that a social media influencer is doing where there's like a giveaway of $100,000 and stuff like that so that she can keep her staff and keep the farm because it's been her dream to have a Christmas tree farm her entire life. But in the application she lies and says that she owns this farm with her boyfriend, and she doesn't have a boyfriend. So she uses her best friend of a really long time, I think his name is Luca or Lucas, to pretend to be her boyfriend. And instead of it being like a fake dating, everything they do is for show, they kind of practice being in a relationship with one another when no one else is around. So it's kind of fake dating, kind of not. This was a 3-star for me. I didn't care, really. There was nothing inherently wrong with this book. It was just very boring. I didn't care. The romance was bland. I know I'm in the minority here because a lot of people love this book. It just wasn't for me, unfortunately. Then I read The Architect by Nikki Sloan. I think this is the 3rd book in the Nashville Neighborhood series. I didn't love The Doctor, but I did really love The Pool Boy, so I was like, I'll try The Architect. I had already purchased it when I purchased The Doctor, so I was like, since I spent money on this, I'm going to read it. This is one of the best romances I have literally ever read. If you like smut, top freaking tier, top tier smut. Oh my gosh, this had me blushing like a tomato. It was so good. If you kind of like a why choose type of thing, you will like this book. So there are 2 men. We have Mr. E and then we have Clay, who is an architect, but he also designs BDSM pieces and builds BDSM pieces for different clients. And then our main character, whose name is slipping my mind, enters into like a friends with benefits relationship with Clay, and then he brings in another person when he has to leave for a work trip, but he orchestrates all of the scenes that her and this other guy are going to do, so he's like in control of the scene. It's messy, but it is hot. It is so freaking good. If you don't like smut, you're not gonna like this series at all, but if you do like smut, give this series a go. I didn't know that I would like why choose type of romances, but I am about to read all of the reverse harems and all of the why choose romance in 2023. Whew, this was so good. Do yourself a favor and read this. Then I did a like weekend reading vlog of me reading some holiday romances. So I read Gifting Me to His Best Friend by Katie Robert. This is a like holiday romance novella, very smutty. Fine, it was pure smut. This is another why choose. We have the girl's husband and then his best friend who they've like kind of always had a thing for each other, and I actually believed it. And then obviously our main character. It was like a 2-hour audiobook, so there's not a ton there other than the smut, but it was still very good, and I still believed all of the scenes like outside of the smut, which is impressive. But Katie Robert knows how to write a scene. So yes, again, if you're looking for smutty author recommendations, there you go. Then I was really into reading poetry throughout the month of December. I still am, if I'm going to be honest. So I picked up a couple while I was at the bookstore, and one of the ones that I picked up and read in its entirety was Please Love Me at My Worst by Michaela Anjmir, I believe is how you pronounce that. I believe I gave this one like a 3 out of 5 stars. I enjoyed it okay. I didn't connect to all of the poems, but the ones that I did like I really enjoyed. I would reread this. I annotated it, so I am keeping my copy. It just doesn't stand out as like one of my favorites. Like I said, I'd recommend it. It's just like not my favorite thing I've ever read as far as poetry goes, and I will be coming out with an entire like guide to poetry, my favorite poetry collections, etc, etc, if that's something you guys are interested in. I'm planning on doing it, so if you want to leave me feedback preemptively in the comments, that would be great. And also you can recommend me some of your poetry recommendations so that hopefully they could potentially make it into the video. 3 out of 5 stars. It was fine. I enjoyed some of the poems, not all of them, but I feel like that tends to be how a lot of poetry goes, especially when it's super personal like this one felt. Then I finally finished the last book in the Brutal Birthright series, so I read Heavy Crown by Sophie Lark. This one is Sebastian and Elena's story. I gave this one a 4 out of 5 stars. I didn't love the romance as much in this one, but I did really love how the series ended. It definitely left me wanting to read the next series. I was already planning on reading the Kingmaker series, but especially how this ended, I'm even more intrigued with all of the mafia drama and how complex the whole world is going to be. I did enjoy Sebastian and Elena's story. It just wasn't my favorite. I think Savage Lover definitely stands out as my favorite in the series, but basically, if you don't know what the Brutal Birthright series is about, it takes place in Chicago amongst all of the like head mob bosses. Italian mafia, Irish, Russian, Polish. Are there any other ones? I don't think so. There probably are, and I'm just forgetting them. But either way, a bunch of those families, some of them are marriage of convenience, some of them are hate to love, one of them is a bodyguard romance, one of them is like a second chance romance. They're very fun. I really enjoyed this series. All in all, I would rate the series like a 4 out of 5 stars, which is, I believe, what I ended up giving this one. Definitely not my least favorite in the series, but also not my most favorite. And again, I have another video coming out on this series, as well as like a series review with a deep dive on all of my thoughts per each book, so keep your eyes peeled for that. And the last book that I read in the month of December was Sweet Sin by Sav R. Miller. This is the prequel novella to Promises and Pomegranates, which I started reading in December, and I actually just finished last night. It was so good. But basically, this is like a Hades and Persephone reimagining with the mafia involved. I really enjoyed this. This smutty novella was so freaking good. I read it in just a couple of days. It's definitely a dark romance, and like I said, there is like mafia stuff involved. So it takes place, I believe, on our main character, Elena's 18th birthday. She's always been pining after this guy named Callum, who is her dad's right-hand man in the mafia. He's significantly older than she is, and basically she begs him to take her. I'm really exposing myself with all of the romance that I read, but I was just kind of having a good time in the month of December with my reading and just reading what I wanted to read. Do with that information what you will, but yes, I enjoyed this one. I don't really rate smutty novellas, so I didn't rate Gifting Me to His Best Friend. I didn't rate this one either, but it was very good. It was an awesome prequel. I feel like it gives you a lot of background. It's not super significant background information that you need to know, but I liked it. I found it helpful and also entertaining. Those were the 6 books that I read in the month of December. Let me know what you read in the month of December down below, or if you've read any of these books and what your thoughts were. I love talking to you guys in the comments below. I hope you're all doing well, reading mentally and otherwise. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and I really hope to see you all in my next one very, very soon. Bye, guys.